Hit me.
From Studio A in Arcata, behind the redwood curtain, it's time for...
Succotash.
Yes, Succotash, the comedy soundcast featuring snippets from comedy.
Soundcast.
And also interviews with comedians, comedian soundcasters, and other showbiz folk. And now, here's this episode's host from up the coast, the man who puts the X in Xbox and the tie on antisocial, comedy soundcaster, Tyson Saner.
Salutone, that's just me, Tyson Saner. I'm your host this week on episode 261 of Succotash. Thank you for joining me. In case you missed last week's episode 260, my co-host and every other show host, Mark Hershon, gathered a quartet of clips from the soundcasts Better Off Better, BHH Cast, Play with Pain, and Plumbing the Death Star. If you get the chance, I urge you to check that out sometime by looking for our show on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and some other places, including the archive at our home site at succotashshow.com. But, since you're here, I've got some clips for you as well. I've got clips from 3 Girls, 1 Kitchen, Strange Times, and Round Springfield. I've also got a fun ad from our longtime fake sponsor, Henderson's Pants, to throw into the mix. Because after all, what would an episode of Succotash be without a segment devoted to a sponsor that we've never seen dime one from because they don't exist? It's a rhetorical question. Alrighty then, let's get to the clips. First up, 3 Girls, 1 Kitchen from Notorious. The description says, 3 Girls, 1 Kitchen is a show for the internet age, filled to the brim with not only food, but a recipe for disaster. Join Lana, Olivia, and Alexa as they talk dating, sex, culture, and interview some of today's hottest celebs. The clip has been taken from an episode from June 4th, 2021. Its description says, in this episode, the girls get political and share their views on Caitlyn Jenner running for governor. Lana also reveals some major life news, and they discuss how different attachment styles can affect relationships. Listen in to find out if your attachment style is toxic. By the way, this episode is called I'm Pregnant. I added that last bit. It is called that, but that wasn't in the description.
Going back to like celebrities running for political positions, I don't know. I don't know if I feel indifferent about it because, I mean, one thing is that she is part of the celebrity culture and influencer world, so she does understand our types of jobs better here in California. So like, you know how, for instance, you guys said our governor currently had been very strict on our COVID rules. And, you know, it's hurt a lot of people here as models, you know, influencers, YouTubers, because they're not able to go out and film. And that is part of their job. Like, this is our culture in California. And, you know, that's something she does understand, and she is up to date with it because her family is in the spotlight. But then yet again, I also don't believe that people should be running for a position like that when there's others who have been passionate about this their entire life, who have gone to school, you know, who have taken economics. You know, this is something that they've actually grown up wanting to do. And I don't feel like it's necessarily right for a celebrity to just all of a sudden think that they want to run for governor, you know?
But we don't know. Maybe this is something that's like been in the works for a while, or even as a kid, like maybe it's something that these celebrities have been wanting to do and they feel like now is the time and the chance. You know, maybe they wanted to do both things. I have no idea.
Going back to Olivia's point, I have to disagree because even though LA is a very small part of California as a whole, so most of the people who do work in California, they are not part of our community. We are a very small population in California. The rest have 9 to 5 jobs. And so, yes, she might know what's better for us, you know, part of the creator community and part of the model community. But there's so many other people in California that we don't know. If you drive 30, 40 minutes outside of LA, it's a completely different world.
But that's
so
why I had
diverse.
my counter argument is that I'm saying, you know, I personally don't think it's right. And I don't know if you guys know who, I believe his name is Bill Maher. He has like a show.
Or is it Bill Maher?
I'm not sure. Maher.
I think I've heard of Bill Maher before.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but correct me if I'm wrong. But he is actually very upset about there's a few celebrities like Dwayne Johnson. He was making jokes and talking about like running for president, and it's actually really funny because they took a poll and 46% of Americans said they would want him to run as president. Yeah, so he was flattered because he was just like, I don't even see myself, but if the people want it, I would be honored or I'd be willing to take on the position. But no, like you shouldn't, because
I feel like it takes away from serious candidates that people should be focusing on.
Yeah, and so Bill was basically just stating that, you know, how have people not seen that this is a nightmare? These people are just acting out as narcissists, because have we not witnessed Donald Trump in our, you know, office and what he had done, that this wasn't anything that was inspiring. This was, he was basically saying that the last 4 years was a warning. It was not an inspiration. You know, like this should have been a caution that Donald Trump, as a former celebrity, like the influencer, you know, spotlight guy coming out to be a president, and now all these other influencers and celebrities are thinking that they can handle on the position or take on the position as well.
You do have to give, I'm not a Donald Trump supporter by any means, but he did have better credentials than these other celebrities or influencers.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, well, he's a former entrepreneur. Like, he's a business guy. So
he was a huge in the business world. Huge.
Yeah, so I wasn't offended by that. I was like, I understand. He's been in this, you know, business lifestyle for quite some time, so...
I mean, I just believe if you're going to be serious about it and take it, like, you know, give your 110, 120%, even if you are a celebrity, some people become celebrities really young and they don't really know what they want to do with their life. And as they get older, they may want to be into politics and stuff, and they can't take back that they're a celebrity. So if they're going to give their full all in their effort and, you know, 110% and try to do what's right, then obviously who am I to say that they shouldn't do it?
Yeah, I think, you know, it would take more time to build up that credibility. Like, they should go and shadow other politicians that they have similar beliefs with, or they should be part of campaigns. They should go and get that experience before they're like, oh, I'm going to become the next governor.
Yeah, that's just like a big step.
Yeah, it's really jumping the gun.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find the show and its hosts in various locations, including Instagram for the show, which is at official three girls, one kitchen. It's actually styled as 3G1K. That's OFFICIAL, the numeral 3, the letter G, the numeral 1, and the letter K. Lana Rhodes can be found on Twitter at capital LANA, capital RHOADESS, and LANARHOADES on Instagram. That's all lowercase. Olivia Davis can be found at the Olivia Davis on Instagram. That's all lowercase, TheoliviAdavis. Alexa Adams can be found on Twitter at capital ALEXA, capital ADAMS, capital X, small o, and on Instagram at ALEXAADAMS, and the numeral 3 on Instagram. The show also has full video on YouTube. Next up, Strange Times. Here's a show we featured often throughout the years. In fact, Davian Dent has been a guest on both Succotash and also on Antisocial Show, another soundcast that I co-host with Hunter Block. Its description is pretty simple. It's a weekly comedy and satirical podcast presented by Davian Dent, Kat Sorens, and Dom Risk. So, in its description from the episode I've clipped, which is on June 29th, 2021, it's episode 382. It's called Gash. And it says, Davian is out of hospital, but quite clearly still under the influence of the industrial-grade painkillers he was prescribed. Yes, the host went through a medical situation very recently, and he's back in the studio with his co-hosts, and doing a great job soldiering on, doing the podcast thing, and I commend him for it.
A big shout-out, well, not only to the NHS at Kingston Hospital, but also to lovely Laura Laird, because she's been on hand, because she's a nursey herself. She's been a big help when I have needed questions answered and things. So, Laura, thank you very much for, being a good friend. So thanks for that.
Yeah, and he had all the pictures laminated, so thanks for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the point. Yeah, laminated pictures. Yeah, we should start selling those, shouldn't we?
Yeah, it's whackable, isn't it?
Yeah, because I found some pictures of me 30 years ago, which I could pretend to pass off as me now. We could just fucking sell those, couldn't we, eh?
Yeah, well, once you get to 60, there's not much change, really. So,
True enough.
You sell them, we'll get Emma to sell some of those, and then happy days.
Happy days. Right. Now, it's not going to be as long as a show as it normally is on account of me being still a bit spaz-fucked from hospital mode.
Your drugs must be kicking in.
Trying to wean myself off those cunts. Shall we?
Try snort of that.
Oh, you cunt. I hadn't thought of that.
Snort it. Guess anything I learned from TV, from watching Nurse Jackie, if you snort it, it gets in the system much faster.
Well, I was just shoving him up my Ronson, but I suppose I could crush a couple of... Actually, yeah. Now, Laura, do not listen to this bit. Shall I get some mycodeine tablets, crush them up and give them a snort and see what happens?
Yeah, film it. That'd be funny. Yeah, film it.
Don't know about
TikTok that.
Don't know about...
Yeah, TikTok.
Yeah, I think TikTok might have some certain rules about that. Plus my kids will sit. Actually, they've seen worse. Yes. Here, quick.
Well, at least you'll be storing your own drugs and not theirs.
Well, this is true.
Do you know, like, people have a fantasy thing about nurses? And then...
I do now.
You do? Well, I kind of do, but it's not because of, like, all the sexy nurses in the sexy ties and the sexy uniform. It's more like nurses have seen fucking everything, so you could shit on the chest and it wouldn't bother him at all. It's brilliant.
Fucking hell, I hadn't thought of that one. I'll tell you...
Ask a nurse. Nothing will fucking faze them.
Davian, shh. They make them a bit wrong in Manchester, don't they?
Yeah, I think they do a little bit.
You think it's definitely, yeah.
I did have some fairly ripe conversations, it must be said, with some of the nurses and stuff there, and by all accounts, they're fucking great sports, because, as you said, Dom, they literally have seen everything.
They literally have. They'll be sticking a pencil up your arse, getting rid of, like, compacted shit, whilst they'll be talking about neighbours. It's that sort of thing. It just nothing phases them. They're brilliant. Well, I've got so much respect for nurses.
Well, this is it, because I had a bit of a problem with my catheter at some point, and it was, like, getting a little bit stingy and stuff, and I didn't know what was going on, so I had to call a nurse, and the bloke came over and he was lovely and stuff. I said, look, listen, mate, look, really sorry, but the catheter's really stingy and stuff, you know, I don't want to make a fuss, but, you know, it fucking hurts a bit. And he said, he's probably just got a bit of sediment and stuff. So what they do is there's a valve that goes into the catheter where they can just, like, inject some, like, pure water, saline solution or whatever and just flush it out. And just as he was doing that, I said, this is probably nothing compared to some of the questions you've been asked to get sorted out. And he looked at me and literally with these words said, mate, you have no idea. This is a holiday doing this. And
no one's ever said that to you. This is a holiday while they're touching your knob.
Yeah.
No one. Absolutely no one.
Yeah.
I bet it was new as well. I bet if he'd been there more than 2 years, he would have like, yeah, let's have a look. He would have whipped it out, fucking blew on the end, and then shoved it back in one fluid movement. No, there's no pack draw, but without exception, they were all absolutely fantastic there. I've actually written a card which I'm going to send them. Obviously, going to have a little link to this podcast on.
So you can reach the show on Twitter at Strange T Show. That is capital STRANGE, capital T, capital SHOW. You can reach Davian Dent on Twitter at all lowercase DAVIANDENT. You can see pictures from his operation on his Twitter feed. Cat Sorens. He might be at Mabvuku on Twitter, which is capital MABVUKU. However, it's probably a suspended account. You can try it. And then possibly at Contrarian Bot, which is capital CONTRARION, capital BOT. Dom Risk can be found at all lowercase DOMRISK on Twitter. And you can see the show's website at strangetimesshow.com. That is STRANGETIMESSHOW.com.
Friends, are you tired of people not taking notice of you or the way you dress, no matter how much hard-earned cash you spend? Or maybe it's time for a change. A change of pants, that is. Now you can dress to depress with a pair of Henderson's passive-aggressive pantaloons. When you want your trousers to make a statement, but not enough of one to get much notice, except secretly you really do want people to notice, of course, well, you're ready for our passive-aggressive pantaloons. Designed with your hang-ups in mind, these pants are designed to take every backhanded compliment and veiled threat with a 50-50 twirl blend of mixed resentment and secret relief. And Henderson's passive-aggressive pantaloons are perfect for those dressy occasions where you wish you'd worn something more formal, yet you're keenly aware of how jealous everyone else is because of how cool and comfortable you look. Passive-aggressive pantaloons are just part of Henderson's new mental instability line, joining our narcissism slacks, obsessive-compulsive denims, sleep disorder seersuckers, and delusions of grandeur gabardines. Originally designed for head cases like Emperor Norton, Charlie Manson, and the White House Chiefs of Staff, Henderson's passive-aggressive pantaloons are available wherever the walls are padded and the doors only open from the outside. That's Henderson's, making pants like crazy since 1100 and squinge. And now back to Succotash.
And thank you, Bill Haywatt. Our final clip for the show is from a soundcast called Round Springfield from Maximum Fun. Its description says, Round Springfield is a Simpsons-adjacent podcast hosted by Goertz and Julia Prescott, where they interview writers, directors, showrunners, and voice actors from the Simpsons-verse on their various paths to Springfield, failed pilots, other projects, and beyond. In this 20-episode limited series, it's quite a bit more than 20 at this point, you'll hear David X. Cohen talk Futurama, Josh Weinstein talk Mission Hill, and Yardley Smith dig deep into her diverse path of becoming Lisa Simpson. So I went quite a ways back in time for this one. This clip is from an episode from March 20th, 2015. And the episode is called Flaming Moe's with J. Elvis Weinstein. And then it says, J. Elvis Weinstein, and that gives his credits as being MST3K, as Mystery Science Theater 3000, and Freaks and Geeks. And it says, sets the stage for Allie and Julia on what the world was like when the Simpsons Cheers-centric episode first aired.
I would like to kind of get in more with you about this episode and why it speaks to you in addition to just it being a very good episode. Was there anything? You could have picked any episode, and you told us before we started that you considered Monorail, or what were the other ones you said?
I considered You Only Move Twice.
Which is such a standard,
one. I know.
It's because we all love Albert Brooks, you know.
The most.
He's the best.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I want to devour every single movie that he's ever made.
Recently, and this podcast will become less about us, I promise, but I recently was just watching all the clips of him doing the old stand-up that he used to do, like the what's it called when it's a puppet that you can't
ventriloquist.
Thank you. Thank you. It's very hot and I'm tired.
Did you do mushrooms this weekend in the desert?
It's so good.
Yeah, or the Speak and Spell rather.
Yeah. Oh God, that's so good.
Yeah.
My favorite movie of his is Defending Your Life,
which is
not
such
a bad choice.
great,
so effing good.
As long as it's none of the movies after that.
I know.
It's a good choice, pretty much.
If I had said political. Mother, would you have just walked out the door?
Here's my thing about Albert Brooks: is he wrote 3 movies in a row about a writer with writer's block. It's a little bit telling.
So there are other episodes that might be funnier or more complex. So what about this episode?
Well, I figured since in this context I was going to be an old guy and was actually around, when this aired and sort of, noticing it in the context of the TV business and in the context of culture, I figured I'd go for an old one first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I think this is one of the first ones where I really went, okay, this show is special.
Yeah,
like Simpsons, it was always funny and there was always great jokes in every episode, but it was really like one of the first times where you go, okay, this show is a notch above, and it's headed so much in the right direction, and I think great shows are kind of like that. That it takes as long as a show is trending the right way in its first season,
right?
It's a good sign. I think Mystery Science Theater, which I was on, started at the same time, and it's like, and I'm considered to have been in the bad seasons of the show, but it's like it was the same process of going, okay, how many jokes can you fit in? What's the joke density you can reach? And when we started doing, we started Mystery Science as a local show, and it was improv, so it was like whatever jokes you could fit in, you did. But then when we sold it to Comedy Central, it was like, okay, we have to have 4 jokes a minute at least, by the standards of that today, that's glacially slow. 4 jokes a minute. Right. We did Cinematic Titanic, which was me and the other original guys doing live shows around the country, and it was like 8 to 10 jokes a minute was common, because the audience has that vocabulary to soak up that many jokes. And at first we didn't know. It's like, are they going to be pissed that we're interrupting the movie? Are they going to, but once you start feeling the absence of jokes, you want to fill up those spaces. Right. And I think that same process happened with The Simpsons, where it's like, we're an animated show, there's no reason why there can't be an extra joke in the frame, and there's no reason why, and I think part of it was Klasky Shupo catching up to the comedy too, and this episode is right at kind of the limits of Klasky Shupo's abilities, and they switched to Film Roma the next year, and then it really became kind of an even better show. But this is close. The animation here is had advanced beyond the really scratchy early stuff.
And it's opening the doors, because we talk about how The Simpsons does that for just a lot of television, but mostly for itself. It's constantly just trying to keep going and going and going.
for itself as a show. Yeah, I agree. And
eventually, as we get further into the series, it becomes so physically funny. Many of the best jokes are animated jokes.
Right. And
not to mention street signs.
But you learn that as you go, what your arsenal is, essentially. You learn from one episode, Homer bouncing down a hill is great. Okay, let's find another way to get him bouncing down a hill.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's, or a certain expression is, there's this episode has what I think may be the first example of that blank Homer staring in the window that's still during the Cheers montage of that Homer just wide-eyed, straight ahead, flat mouth line, that Homer kind of totally fucked Homer face, you know? And that's just another thing. It's like another nuance that you pick up, and then you see that throughout the series when Homer's being shut out of something.
Right.
There's kind of that same expression. It's like, for such a simple drawing, those subtle things are really things that you as a writer go, okay, I have that tool now. Let's use that because it's such an effective thing on screen.
You can reach the show on Twitter at SimpsonsPod. That's good that they got that one early. That is all lowercase SIMPSONSPOD. The guest you can reach at J. Elvis Weinstein. That is capital J, capital E, LVIS, capital WIEINSTEIN. Allie Goertz can be reached at capital ALLIE, capital GOERTZ, and Julia Prescott can be reached at all lowercase JULIA PRESCOTT. You can find the show at its website on MaximumFun.org/podcast/round-Springfield. Incidentally, J. Elvis Weinstein has a couple of documentaries that have been released over the years. One called I Need You to Kill, which, according to its description on Amazon, quote, follows 3 American comics, Chad Daniels, Pete Lee, and Tom Segura, on a 6-show tour through 3 of the world's newest stand-up comedy scenes, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Macau. The film explores the anxieties and surprises of taking your act halfway around the world, as well as giving a ground floor glimpse into Asia's newest growth industry, stand-up comedy. It's available to stream or purchase on DVD from Amazon. The more recently released documentary is called Michael Des Barres, Who Do You Want Me to Be?, and is described thusly. Michael Des Barres' 6-decade career as an actor and rock singer is a veritable museum of pop culture, from To Sir with Love to MacGyver and over 100 other TV and film roles, and a diverse music career, including brushes with Led Zeppelin, Sex Pistols, and appearing at Live Aid as the lead singer of The Power Station. I remember seeing that when it first aired. Michael recounts his story with the help of many of his friends. Now, this one is currently only available for digital rent or purchase. I will say that I've seen I Need You to Kill and quite enjoyed it. I plan to see Michael Des Barres' Who Do You Want Me to Be? Soon. Now, I told you all that because during the course of the interview with Josh Elvis Weinstein that does not appear in the clip that you heard, he mentions I believe both of these documentaries he's been working on. And I had no idea how many years could go into a documentary. And the fact that it's 2021 now, so it's 6 years after this clip. It's before he has his Thought Spiral podcast with Andy Kindler, which we clipped on the show. Well, I clipped on the show a couple episodes ago. Some of my favorite films are documentaries. And if you're thinking of becoming a documentary filmmaker, you should be aware that it's no light commitment, unless the stars align perfectly. That's it. And here we are together again at the end of the show. I hope you found something you enjoyed, or at least found interesting. I'm leaving funny out of the conversation because of how subjective humor is. Comedy can be elusive, but soundcasts are plentiful. Didn't really have more to that thought. It's just two things that are true next to each other. Not all soundcasts are meant to be funny, after all. Here's a secret. Life isn't meant to be funny. Actually, I have no idea if that's true or not, because it implies that life is supposed to have any sort of meaning, and I am not the authority on that subject. Life can be very funny, and not just strange, but also the ha-ha variety. Conversations are simply life forms exchanging thoughts and ideas and creating new experiences, and soundcasts capture that very thing, so that theoretically a person from the future can peek into the past. If you're hearing this, you are proving my point. And I thank you again for listening. In the next episode, 262, Mark Hershon will have something for you to listen to, but since that's in my future, I have no idea what that something will be, except that it will likely be comedy or soundcast related in some way, although it does not have to be. If you decide to listen again in 2 weeks, I will be back with something else. Until then, be decent to each other, beware of asymptomatic spread, and if someone asks you if you've heard anything interesting lately, would you please pass the Succotash?
You've been listening to Succotash, the comedy soundcast, with your host, Tyson Saner. Brought to you by Henderson's Pants and...
Imagine your company's name right here.
Rate us and review us at Apple and Google Podcasts. Find us on the web at succotashshow.com, on Spotify, on Stitcher, on iHeartRadio, on YouTube,
on SoundCloud,
and wherever fine soundcasts are streamed and or downloaded. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Succotash Show. Like us on Facebook. Email us at tyson@succotashshow.com or call into the Succotash Skype line at our toll call number 818-921-7212.
That number again is 818-921-7212.
You can also upload clips from your favorite comedy soundcasts directly to us using our direct upload link at hightail.com/u/Succotash. Succotash is produced and engineered by Joe Paulino through the auspices of Studio P Sausalito, the home of the hit. Our hosts are Mark Hershon and Tyson Saner. Our musical director is
Scott Carvey.
Our booth assistant is
Kenny Durges.
Succotash is executive produced by Mark Hershon. Until next time, I'm your loyal booth announcer, Bill Haywatt, reminding you to please pass the Succotash. Goodbye. This has been a Succotash Patch production.